Well, welcome again everybody. This is my Ecoflow Delta Pro Ultra that I have running here, East Lansing, Michigan, in time of use. This is like a year update. It's been a while. I've been meaning to go through this and tell you guys what I've been doing with it, what I've added. One of the things I do have is, it's very hard to see, but on the left hand side I have a generator input plug, the L1430. I changed my electric dryer to the L1430, so if there is a time that I need to charge this really fast, say I know that there's a storm coming, this works really well. I can just flip the breaker on for the dryer and just charge it up. It works really well. So this whole thing with the solar and stuff, for somebody like me who's good with electricity but is also IT and understood the whole UPS concepts, this has been really fantastic. I actually had a power outage once that it lasted on my critical circuits up there. It lasted all through the power outage, but because I had two batteries then, and it only lasted like the 4 hours, maybe 5. I don't remember exactly when it went out. It went out during like a time of use. So this, anyway, I'm gonna turn that off. So this lasted during the time of use. So it was already kind of low anyway. I mean, it gets up as high as it can, and it lasted until the power came back on, which was nice. We couldn't run the central air. And I actually just tested this to see as is, because I'm only using about like 2 kilowatts. You can see 2.3 kilowatts of electricity that I'm using. I'm actually going to go turn off the central air. It's a little cool out there. I don't need to be wasting electricity since it can't run it. But I had to see if that was even doable, so I could understand what I needed to plan for. It sounds like I need to get a soft start for this older unit that I have. So it was unable to start, and yeah, I got 4 batteries now, so we're gonna see how long that lasts. I turned on 2 more circuits that I identified as a critical circuit, like my furnace is now running 100%. This is some of the panels out here. It's kind of bright out, and you can hear the central air. It doesn't need to be on because I got the windows open. Yeah, but this room is critical circuit. The reef tank is critical circuit. The reptiles, refrigerator, some of the clocks upstairs and such. I may have to reset a few clocks from my test. I don't know if I'm even gonna publish that video, honestly. So we're gonna flip that off. But yeah, we had an ice storm one year, and I was lucky that I was able to save the reef tank. A lot of people lost all their livestock and everything of that sort, so I really don't want that to happen. Anyway, I'll go through next what else I'm showing besides Sassy Dog. And the bird, that's what you heard over there. Alright, I'm going to talk a little bit about this, what you see. This was my energy use. So the time of use is what I'm trying to do is get these on-peak hours down. You know, obviously this was in June 11th, and here's the day I lost power. I lost it during an on-peak because there was such a heavy rainstorm and knocked some trees down. So then that gave me the data I needed. Well, sorry, it's June 27th. You see how little was used during on-peak as compared to anywhere else? Yeah. So that let me know that during the prime sales I could add, you know, more batteries. And then got really hot here, so we unfortunately had to run the air conditioning and do that. But again, you know, as we run through, I got some months of data that we're knocking that on peak down. And That's just the things that are not in the critical circuits that are running like that. Now the interesting thing is that I just, there's me as with Mickey Mouse. Let me unlock my phone here. This is an error that was kind of interesting. So by me trying to power the sub panel and just power the central air conditioning, I reached the overload condition. And it turned back on, it recovered from the fault, but because it happened again, I have like a little bit of the video of the compressor trying to start. It didn't like me too much. But anyway, so now would be maybe I could try and see how much time that 4 batteries gives me. Obviously, if at my current use, I did however add a couple more circuits like the furnace and the upstairs bedrooms to it, which is where this computer is at. I might not be a fair comparison, but you know, if I get like 10-12 hours worth of use, but I can also use this app and see where I'm at and start judging the use. I need to get my generator back, but I have like a gas generator. That was one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, was this thing right here where it says power in and out. That's the 240, the generator input. That is interesting, because you got to remember, it is going to behave like a generator. So even though I have a way to charge from the grid using that, and you can just power the critical circuits, you can do that. Well, what would happen is that my batteries would be full, right? And the generator would just match the house output. So like, for example, it would be doing 1.8 on input, 1.8 on the output, and then it would just discard the solar. And that's free energy, and I want the free energy. So this AC port, the one in the front that's maxed at 1800 watts, works better in that if you notice, you see it's only pulling in 768 watts, but then pulling the rest of the power from the solar. That's what I want, but the generator port doesn't seem to want to do that. It's either going to match what you have. I mean, it'll sometimes work with the solar, but you can't have like a charged battery to do it. So it makes sense because it is a generator port. It is meant to be running in an outage. It doesn't think you're actually pulling it from the grid. I wish I probably should have put my thing a little bit better, but yeah. And then, you know, right now, because it's set to time of use, it's not gonna charge up fully for tomorrow's time of use because it's the weekend until like later tonight. It's gonna pull the full 1800 watt, but during the day it's just gonna try to pull what it can off the solar panels and just only supplement what it needs to get whatever's outputting. So I do recommend this unit. It's nice. I like how I can play around with it. I can scale it a bit. I mean, ultimately, it'd be good to get this down to complete off-peak, but it looks like I'm not quite there yet. I need most likely a soft start for my old R22 system. I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. To put that on an older system like that. It was installed here in 2002. My brother and I did that. I no longer have the tools to do it, so it's going to cost me a bit to get a new unit. A new unit might actually come with what it needs to run off the generator and be a lot less of a power hog to run. But at least I know now that I can't actually run the central air, but it looks like I could, however, put more circuits into the sub panel and run that, and maybe I can get something else going that way. But anyhow, I hope that's been informative to you guys, and I do kind of wish Ecoflow would do something a little bit better with that power in-out port for somebody like me who would like to run, you know, the whole house, just UPS, run the whole house. But I think that's why they have you do the smart home panel and not necessarily doing it manually. And obviously if you're running this off grid, you're gonna either run on the generator and solar and run the generator to charge it up and then just unplug it. So makes a certain amount of sense. Hope that's been informative for you.